Welcome back to another bracket picks video. In this video, I'm going to go over my final bracket picks, and it's actually a little bit different than what I did on Sunday when I dropped my initial video going over my initial bracket picks, because I've overthought this thing very, very badly. Or maybe it's a good thing. I'm not sure yet. We'll find out. But if you want to watch that first video, I will link it in the description box below. But I'm going to go over why I changed some of my picks. I'm going to go over basically just some of the methodology that maybe I should have gotten into a little bit more in that first bracket picks video. But once again, I'm picking a bracket for an upset heavy pool that rewards seeding. So you get a certain number of points. In first round, it's 3 points if you get the pick correct, but then you add the seed. So hypothetically, if I picked Stetson and they upset UConn, I would get 19 points because that's 3 plus 16. I would only get 4 points for picking UConn right. So it is a bracket pool that rewards upsets. You want to know your pool settings. If you're trying to win the thing, you want to know A, what the scoring is, and B, how many people are in your pool. Because the more people in your pool, the more crazy you're going to have to get, whether it's with your champion, especially if it's default scoring rules, because, you know, if you get the champion right and nobody else does, you basically win your pool. Or, you know, if there's a lot of people, you might want to get a little bit crazy earlier in the bracket while trying to keep your final four intact. So when I pick it, I just try and guess as to some of the random stuff that happens every year, because every year there's stuff that happens that doesn't really make much sense, and sometimes it's better to go against the grain. There's always a couple consensus upset picks that don't end up panning out. So I've tried to think about that, as well as compare stuff to last year, look at, you know, a bunch of different stats, analytics with all of these teams, thinking about matchup as well. There's a lot that goes into this. So if you're finalizing your bracket, or if you haven't even made your bracket picks yet, you better hurry up because tomorrow is the deadline. Then this should be a video that maybe can put some things into motion for you. Anyway, our bracket picks videos is brought to you by BetUS. America's favorite sportsbook is BetUS, featuring live betting and racebook. They're celebrating their 30th year anniversary with a historic offer, a 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. You can get started today by using my sign-up link in the description box below, and promo code JOIN125 to activate those first 3 deposit bonuses. So I'm going to try referencing some BetUS spread lines, because I feel really strongly about the possibility to make some money on some of these spread lines. The first spread line that I felt very confidently about was Colorado State versus Virginia, which was almost a pick'em, and I was taking Colorado State all the way in that one. They blew them out. That could have been a great opportunity to make some money if you took advantage of the 3 125% deposit bonuses that BetUS is offering you. That's a minimum of $100, maximum of $2,500. So shout out to them. Let's jump into this thing right here. Obviously, still going 1 seeds. I'm going Northwestern here. I feel like Florida Atlantic is the team that everybody's liking, but Northwestern can shoot the ball. Boo Buoy is legit. Florida Atlantic struggled down the stretch. So I feel like this is a good opportunity to go against the grain a little bit and pick a team that I feel like nobody's respecting enough. San Diego State, Auburn. Some of these picks I'm not really going to go into since I went to it on that first video. If you want more thoughts, you can go into that. We got BYU, and then the biggest change. I had Illinois going to, I think, my championship game. And this region is super tough. I think Illinois is a really good 3 seed. I like them better than Baylor. I like them better than Creighton. However, every year I want to pick a 14 over a 3. Every year I want to pick a 15 over a 3 too. It's fun to pick upsets. My pool rewards upsets. Kentucky I have going pretty far. Creighton was the other team I was thinking about, but I don't know. I just think Creighton's solid. And then I'm not picking Colgate over Baylor again. I pick Colgate, I feel like, every year, and it never works out for me. I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm actually going to go Morehead State. Morehead State has a couple of guys, Lathan and Minix, that are legit, like, star caliber players that can actually carry a team. I don't think Illinois is more physically dominant. A lot of times when you see, you know, a high seed, top 3 seed versus a lower seed, like, they have some sort of physical edge. I don't really think Illinois has that. Coleman Hawkins is a key piece for him, but he struggled in the Big Ten tournament. He did not play well. They got Terrence Shannon, but if you can find a way to either get him in foul trouble or just slow him down somehow, you have a chance, especially because Morehead State has a couple of guys themselves. And every year I feel like there's a surprising upset, and I feel like this would be that surprising upset. Illinois won the Big Ten championship, but in past years, I've put a little bit too much value in conference champions. I feel like that maybe is a blind spot for me. A couple of years ago, Iowa with Keegan Murray won the Big Ten championship. They were a 5 seed. I put them all the way in my Final Four, and they lost in the first round. So we've seen a Big Ten champion lose in the first round to a mid-major before. I'm actually going to go Morehead State, and originally I had this. I think BYU is really underrated as a 6 seed, but, since I had Illinois losing to BYU after I thought about this game some more, might as well just go ahead and go with the 14. I still think Washington State is a terrible matchup for Drake. A lot of people are going to pick Drake. That's the fun, mid-major team there, but Washington State, bad matchup. Nebraska, originally I had Wisconsin going to the Sweet 16 here. I actually changed that to James Madison. They're the best 12 seed. They should have been an 11 seed. They've been really, really good. And Wisconsin, I feel like maybe that was a little bit of an overreaction to just the games I watched them play in the Big Ten. They played well, but they've been very inconsistent all season long. And I guess we're kind of fading the Big Ten a little bit here, which in previous years actually was a smart thing to do. We got Texas Tech, NC State, still going with NC State, still going with Kentucky. This game is driving me crazy. If Colorado wins, I'll probably have Colorado going to the Sweet 16. If Boise State wins, I'm tempted to go Florida. Florida scores the ball really well. Rebound is the best rebounding team in the country, but that could be hurt because their center broke his leg in the SEC championship. So I don't know if they're going to be able to rebound at the same level, and they kind of need to because they don't play defense. They are a terrible defensive team. But I do like their matchup here. Marquette, Tyler Kolek, it sounds like he's going to be healthy. But as I said, I want to pick a 15 over a 2. A 15 seed has made the Sweet 16 the last 3 years. That was Oral Roberts, that was St. Peter's, and that was Princeton. So it makes sense to pick a 15 if you're trying to nail this thing. But I mean, in my first video, I picked Long Beach State. I've moved off that. I don't think St. Peter's is beating Tennessee, although that could be a sneaky one. I'm going Western Kentucky, but I truly don't believe a 15 seed is going to upset a 2. But we'll see. Marquette, if Kolek isn't 100% or is a little rusty, then maybe Western Kentucky has a chance. I think that's the lowest spread that you can find on BetUS. But yeah, if this is Colorado winning, I'll probably go with that. I think Colorado is a bit dangerous, but right now we got Florida, we got Kentucky. Moving on down, Utah State, excuse me, oh my goodness. Utah State versus TCU. Utah State, I think, is a little underseeded. I mean, I don't want to go too heavy on Mountain West teams, though, so I'm going to go TCU. Gonzaga over McNeese. I had McNeese in the Sweet 16 on the initial video, but McNeese relies too heavily on turning teams over, and I don't think that's a good game plan for Gonzaga. They take care of the ball. I feel like this is the trendy upset pick. That doesn't happen. Gonzaga hasn't lost in the first round in like 15 years. Mark Few always has his team prepared. McNeese is a good 12. Gonzaga probably should have been a 7 seed instead of a 5 seed, but I like Gonzaga in this one now. Stanford, I still have beaten Kansas. Kevin McCullough is out for the season, and Kansas already wasn't deep to begin with. Stanford plays 10 deep, presses, plays fast pace. I think it's a terrible matchup for Kansas given some of the issues that they're struggling with right now. So I got Stanford moving on to take on Gonzaga. We still got Oregon beating South Carolina, still got Creighton. Colorado State looked phenomenal against Virginia, and then Tennessee. We're going to go Mississippi State over Michigan State. Grand Canyon, still got them. I'm actually going to pick Charleston. Charleston always burns me, but Alabama played poorly to end the year and can't play defense. Can they score? Yeah. Could they potentially score 100 points in this game? Yeah. But upset heavy pool. If this wasn't an upset heavy pool, I'm probably going Alabama here. I do think Alabama ultimately wins this game. I don't know what I'd take on the spread, but in an upset heavy pool, I want to pick another 13. Let's have some fun, because even if Alabama wins, I still have Grand Canyon moving on to the next round. I am feeling Grand Canyon this year. New Mexico still got them beating Clemson, Baylor over Colgate, Nevada over Dayton, and then I got Arizona being Long Beach State. That was the 15/2 that I initially had, but I've moved off it, so if it actually happens, I'm going to be a little upset. Now, here's where we get crazy. My initial bracket, I had this, but I always like picking an 8 or a 9 over a 1, and I don't know, Northwestern can shoot the ball, and they got a really good guard. I feel like if you're going to beat UConn, you got to hit a bunch of threes. Northwestern is certainly capable, and we've seen a like 8 versus 9 over 1 seed upset that was shocking. I think it was like Villanova lost to NC State, where like Villanova was, I think, the favorite to win it all. Defending champions struggle to make the Sweet 16. And I already have Auburn beating UConn. I'm just going to go with Northwestern. You know, obviously, if I had to pick this game straight up, I think UConn wins it. But I think Northwestern has a chance. And in my bracket pool, if I can get an extra, 14 points because we have the seed over people because they are taking UConn, I'll take that opportunity. And then if UConn wins, just hope Auburn beats them in the next round. We got Iowa State here. Got Iowa State moving on. Auburn versus Iowa State, 2 phenomenal teams. I just love Auburn, though. They have a very similar, analytical profile to UConn last year. And they have a really good big. They have guard play. They can score the ball. I like Auburn a lot. Moving on, we got Houston over Duke. We got Kentucky. In this region, Purdue, Gonzaga, Creighton, and Tennessee. I was thinking about going Colorado State, then moving on Creighton. I'll get into some of the struggles I had just in terms of the seeds that I want, because I am a little bit particular about that. We do have Purdue. We do have Tennessee. North Carolina is moving on. I got New Mexico and Nevada. This is where things get crazy. I got 3 double-digit seeds in the Sweet 16 here. I think this region is just wild. And then I'm still deciding between New Mexico and Nevada in this game. New Mexico plays defense and has a couple good guards, but those guards aren't exactly efficient. Those guards are prone to some really cold shooting nights, but if those guards can get hot, they could make a run, maybe even all the way to the Final Four. That is, House and Mashburn, 2 sons of NBA players there. But, Nevada's good. Nevada should have probably been a 6 seed, maybe a 7. They're a good team. Right now, I'm just going to keep New Mexico, but that's a game I definitely go back and forth on. There's actually the Loyola Chicago Nevada year when Nevada had the Martin twins. Nevada was a 7 seed and Loyola Chicago was a 7. So they met up in that game. I predicted an 11v7 correctly, but I had Nevada moving on to the Elite 8 as the 7 seed, and then Loyola Chicago moved on, and I was mad at myself for not taking the 11. So I guess that's what I'm gonna do this time with New Mexico. We'll see. I still got Auburn. I still got Houston. I still got Tennessee. I still got North Carolina. For a second, I was thinking maybe New Mexico here and then Purdue. But I can't do it. I don't believe in New Mexico that much. I hate North Carolina as a 1. I put North Carolina in any of these other regions, they're not making the Final Four. No way. No way. I do hate this second round matchup for Tennessee. I'm a little bit wary about putting them in the Final Four, given that they could play Colorado State, because I think Colorado State could definitely beat them. I guess I'm just super high on the Mountain West this year. I don't know why. They kind of burned me last year, but if that first game against Virginia is any indication, Colorado State is legitimate. I could go something like that. I don't hate Creighton as a Final Four pick. But basically, I don't want to do this. I don't want to put 3 1 seeds in my Final Four. That's no fun. So like I said, I'm particular about seeds. I will never put more than 3 1 seeds in the Elite 8. Normally, I only put 2. But I will never put more than 2 1 seeds in my Final Four. At that point, might as well put UConn and just pick all 1 seeds and have no fun. So I'm going to keep Tennessee advancing through. Dalton Connect can definitely put that team on his back, and they have a really good defense. But yeah, I'm going to go North Carolina and not Tennessee, Houston, and I'm going to go Houston. Like I said, I don't like North Carolina. If Auburn wasn't playing UConn, if they didn't have to go through UConn, if Auburn was playing North Carolina in a bracket like this, I'd probably take Auburn and I'd be more willing to advance them to a championship game. I just think this this path, especially with Iowa State too, like this region is so brutal. I'm too nervous to put Auburn in my Final Four. Although I might do it at the end of the day. 2-1 seeds, the Final Four, or in the championship game, kind of boring. So I might just go back to what I initially had. The Final Four hasn't really changed. But yeah, that's my final bracket picks. A lot of it's similar. The biggest change is Auburn instead of Illinois, because I had Illinois going to the Final Four, and now I have Illinois losing the first round. So I do think even if Illinois wins, though, that BYU could definitely pick them off, because BYU is legitimate. Should have been a 5 seed, but something about not being able to play on Sundays is why they bumped them down to a 6. So BYU's legit. But that's my bracket picks. Let me know what you think of them down in the comment section below. And then I want to go through a couple BetUS spreads with you. Just some of the spreads that I am most confident in. If you want to find BetUS spreads for these games and place some money on them with that 125% bonus that they're offering, just go to their website, go down here to basketball, click on basketball, then scroll down to March Madness, click on game, and you'll be able to find spread lines for all these games, and then you can sort them by time here. I'm going to click the up arrow so that we get the first games of the day tomorrow. Mississippi State versus Michigan State. I think this is purely a toss-up, so I don't like putting money in on that. BYU and Duquesne. I think BYU definitely beats them, but I'm not a fan of this spread line either. I think Akron probably keeps this closer than 12.5. I would maybe take Akron here. I would take Long Beach State here. 1 seed's not going to mess with that. I pick Morehead State. I think Morehead State keeps it closer than 11.5. Oregon for South Carolina. I think this is also pretty much a toss-up, but I would go Oregon here. Nevada Dayton. I think Nevada is just a noticeably better team than Dayton. I would take Dayton here. Don't really know what I want to do with this spread line or this one. I think Gonzaga wins by about 6. So some of these spread lines I would pass on. Some of these I would feel very strongly about putting money in on them. I think St. Peter's keeps it closer than 21.5. I would probably take Iowa State here as 16-point favorites. I don't think that South Dakota State is going to be able to handle the pressure that Iowa State can provide, the defense on the perimeter that they can provide. I like Samford. I picked Samford. I like NC State here. Drake, 1.5-point favorites. I'm picking Washington State. I actually feel very good about getting points with Washington State in this game. Drake should not be favorited in my opinion. But that just means they're going to win because, that's how things go. Northwestern for Florida Atlantic. I mean, Northwestern, I think, is just as good as them. I'm taking the 2.5 there. Baylor Colgate. I'm not doing anything with the Colgate game ever again. They drive me crazy. UAB, San Diego State. I would take San Diego State in this one. I don't think UAB is all that good. I would take San Diego State as 7-point favorites. Marquette, Western Kentucky. Give me the points with Western Kentucky. We're going to skip the 1 seed game. New Mexico, 2.5 points over Clemson. Honestly, if I had to pick this game, I would just take the points. Like, I have New Mexico advancing in my bracket, but the fact that they're 2.5-point favorites, I think is a little crazy. And honestly, part of that would just be hedging my bets by putting some money down on Clemson. Yale and Auburn. I actually think Yale keeps it within 13. Ivy League schools tend to do a good job in the tournament. And Yale has some players. Auburn is definitely better than them. But I do think this is about a 10 to 12-point win for Auburn. So just give me Yale and the points there. Nebraska, I picked over Texas A&M. Duke versus Vermont. I feel like that's a pretty good spread. I don't feel strongly either way. Alabama versus College of Charleston. I'm probably taking Charleston. Alabama's just been playing. They've been struggling way too much. Houston Longwood. If you're going to pick a one seed spread, maybe this one, maybe Longwood. I don't like taking 24-point favorites. But yeah, I would probably just avoid all the 1 seed lines. Wisconsin, James Madison. I'm taking James Madison. This game is going to be great, in my opinion. It's going to be very competitive. Utah State versus TCU. I mean, if you're giving me 4 points with Utah State, I'm taking that. And then St. Mary's and Grand Canyon, I'm taking Grand Canyon with that one. So taking a lot of underdogs, but underdogs have performed well against the spread in previous seasons. So if you feel strongly about any sort of game, any sort of spread line, feel free to put some money down with BetUS. Sign up with our link in the description box below and use promo code JOIN125 to get in on some of these spread lines. The game I felt most strongly about was maybe Colorado State devouring Virginia. Virginia should not have been in the tournament, and Colorado State is a good Mountain West team. And for some reason, I'm feeling the Mountain West this year. You could have cashed in if you picked Colorado State over Virginia. So anyway, that wraps up my bracket picks for this year's March Madness. Those are my final bracket picks. I might change one or two small things, especially depending on if Boise State or Colorado wins in the first 4 game today. But if you have any questions about any games, feel free to ask me in the comment section below and let me know what your final 4 is. Let me know what your thoughts are, and leave your thoughts on my picks down in that comment section. Anyway, that's a wrap for this video. Appreciate you watching. I'll catch you next time. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.